All right. Well, now people can join. I don't know. Usually it didn't do that last week. But anyway. So, yes, Loretta Lynn passes away at the age of 90. She had a little house or farm or whatever.
Waverly, yeah.
So I'd never been before, but I'm sure things will be picking up business-wise for that. But, I mean, she pushed the limits. She was a female in a male-dominated business. She didn't take crap off of anyone, and, she was a trailblazer. I mean, if you're doing Mount Rushmore, female country artist, there's not even a doubt she's on it. I mean, you got Dolly, you got her, you probably have Reba, and then,
Shania.
Probably, or somebody like that. So, yeah. But rest in peace, Loretta Lynn. And, yes, the stuff with Jack White, if you've never checked that out,
It's amazing.
It is really good stuff. I mean, of course, Jack White's, I used to love Jack White. I used to love the White Stripes, and now, I don't know, man. He doesn't do it for me. I don't know, man.
I think Jack White is like the musical version of Tim.
Tim Todd.
No,
Timmy.
Sweeney Todd, Batman.
Tim Burton.
Tim Burton, yes.
Well, no, because Tim Burton's
weird.
never been that great. I mean, I guess, okay, you want to do Tim Burton? Was he great or not? All right, let's go over his movies. You know what I think of Batman? Overrated. Batman Returns, very overrated. Edward Scissorhands, I will give you that one. That is a great movie. He did Beetlejuice, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty good. It's pretty good. Jack White, the White Stripes were one of the greatest bands that have ever existed. If the White Stripes had continued to make albums, they would be in my top 5 of all time. Unfortunately, they stopped.
Yeah.
And Jack White's solo career is just not the same. I think Meg White was, people would probably disagree with this, but Meg White was part of the reason for his success. I mean, I think sometimes having a limitation, if you want to say that, I think Meg White's a great drummer for what she did, but she wasn't the best drummer in the world. And sometimes having a limit on what you can do sharpens your skills a little bit better. Now, was Jack White great in the Dead Weather? Yes. Was he great in the Raconteurs? Yes. His solo stuff, I just can't get into it, man. I just, there's something just too weird. I don't know. It just doesn't kick for me the same way. And, but his stuff with Loretta Lynn, top notch.
Oh, yeah.
So he was really upset. I mean, he looked at her like she was a mother figure to him. So, terrible loss, for the community. She seemed like a very nice person as well. So that sucks. And rest in peace to her and to her family and to all of her fans. Just go out. Like, I've been listening to a lot of her music today. I was kind of getting ready for it mentally and everything like that. So there we go. All right. So rest in peace to her. Now let's get to this week in She-Hulk. All right. She-Hulk, you watched it.
I watched it.
Okay. Now, this was the best episode of the series, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I'm going to talk about it. I'm not going to spoil like everything that happened, but I feel like they literally put the fight scene online everywhere. It was on Twitter before the episode even aired. So Daredevil made an appearance this week.
Yes.
Just not Matt Murdock. Daredevil. Now, I will not get into the specifics of what the episode happened. I will say this. Loved it. Loved the Daredevil stuff. Like, perfect. Like, Marvel's never been better than this. You know what I think of Daredevil. This was perfect. This was Daredevil. My God, I cannot wait for the Daredevil series. I'm loving She-Hulk. I love Daredevil. And anyway, okay. The ending, I was emotionally like shaken by the end of that show. I mean, that really hit me in an emotional way that honestly, none of the other series of Disney Plus, Marvel series have never hit me the way that ending did. Now, am I alone on this?
The thing is something like that ending.
It made my stomach crawl, John.
Couldn't really happen in any other period of time until now.
Okay. Yeah.
And
it was wild.
Yeah.
Like, I was shaken to the core. I felt, like I said, we can't really talk about what it was, but was she justified in what she did? Yes. I don't understand. Oh, we're freaking out. Okay. What if that was you, my friend, and you could do that? Best episode, without a doubt. I have no idea I don't know where the ending is going. Not a clue. it seems, as I was reading, some people showed up, a group. It seemed they were there pretty quickly, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Is this a setup? It's a, who's
I mean, obviously, it has to be some.
who is
kind
the
of
bad guy?
aspect set
Who
up.
is the villain? Do you have a guess, John? Usually, you're pretty good about this stuff. Who could the villain even be?
I think it's the leader.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Well, I guess we'll see. But anyways, what were you?
He's supposed to make a return in the Ant-Man movie, I believe.
Okay, so you think it might be him?
So I think it might
Okay.
be. If it, I think he's connected in some way.
Okay. Well, okay. So what did you think of the episode?
I mean, I thought it was great. Everything that Charlie Cox has done with the Devil character is just amazing. But first and foremost, Daredevil as a character, period,
yeah. I mean, it's,
is pretty awesome character.
oh,
And the thing about the tone of the show didn't take a hit.
not at all. It almost worked to perfect. It was like a symphony of perfection.
And Daredevil's character, aside from the lightness of the show
Yeah.
and the darkness of his character, really didn't take a hit.
No, because I felt it was true to him. I'm like, if you just met him, you would probably get that vibe off of him.
Yeah.
No one's showing you their inner demons when you first meet him.
Yeah.
And especially not a guy like that who's hiding them most of the time,
Yeah.
He's a character wrecked by guilt, and he doesn't, he's always chasing something that he's never going to get to. And so on the outside, he's a jokester. And I mean, his quips were better than Spider-Man's in this.
Yeah.
But just, man, the way they've set this series up to get here, it's unbelievable. It is. And look, Baco said he just doesn't like the series. And I get that. Look, if you don't like it because you don't like it, I don't have a problem with that.
There's a lot of things that you just can't feel a vibe for. There's like there's like people who are like into Japanimation.
Right.
If you don't like Japanimation, you're just not gonna like it.
Right. I'm never going to I'm not going to get into like anime deep series. I'm just
Yeah.
not going to do it. That doesn't mean I think it's bad. It just means it's not for me. Yeah, I told Baco, if you don't like it because you don't like the tone of it, and like knowing Baco, and he's the guy that's a little bit older than us, but of course, I don't think this show is necessarily geared to a lot of people that are 45 plus that don't like comic books. It's obviously, as I've learned, not geared toward men of a certain type, conservative men who, like Ben Shapiro was, I don't know if this was real or not. I just saw a tweet about it, but apparently he was tweeting about it, that he didn't like the series, and it was silly that a woman could be stronger than men. And we'll get to Daily Wire in a little bit. But anyway, I am so excited to watch each episode of this show. It's like I said, John, I'm looking back at all of the Marvel series. I'm going to have to re-examine, but this is up there. And if you'd have told me that, I never would have thought it. Never. I would have thought this would have been the lowest ranked series without a doubt. I've talked about my love for
I was pretty sure that Miss Marvel was going to be the lowest.
Well,
But
I had no hope for this.
yeah.
Tatiana, if that's her name, is that how you say her name? Everybody know I love her. This is the episode where, all right, we get it. So it's like, yes. I mean, I don't want to get into too specific details, but yeah, I mean, someone finally appreciated her, which they should the whole series.
Yeah.
Now look, if we want to nitpick, the guys in this show are a little dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, there aren't many great male characters. Okay, I mean, if you really want to start breaking it
Maybe
down,
like 2. And that's
Who?
including last night's episode.
you can't include Daredevil because he's not.
That's what I'm saying, including him too.
Who the gay guy is the other one?
Is he gay?
Oh, that designer guy.
No. He's not a great character.
Oh no,
I'm
he's
not
great.
including him.
Oh, he's great. Are you kidding me? He is the third best character on the third's questionable, but he's in the top 5. That dude's the best. Are you kidding me? The costume designer, I love that guy.
But I mean, as far as someone that represents,
now, to be fair, he was in the HBO series The Flight Attendant, and he's playing like the same guy. And I like when a gay character comes in and plays that kind of stuff. I love it. Just okay. Who's the other guy?
probably Pug.
Who is Pug?
And he's hardly in it.
Who is Pug?
That's what I'm saying.
Who is that?
He is one of the other lawyers that works for them.
Oh, that guy's the worst. Are you kidding me?
I don't think you're.
I don't know,
thinking about
John.
the same person
The
I
guy's
am.
barely even in it. I don't even know who you're talking about.
That's the problem.
Hug.
That's the problem.
Okay, so yeah, so I guess
I'm agreeing with you.
I guess I can see the point that yes,
Yeah.
if you're ultimately consumed, I must have a strong male character. It's a show for women to enjoy. And men want to get on it and enjoy it as well. This is what women and minorities and all these marginalized groups, this is what they have been experiencing their whole life.
I mean, technically, Blonsky's kind of a strong male character now.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. I'll give you that. But I'm just saying, look, all you men, this is how you feel, you conservative men, you MAGA men. How you're feeling about this show is how everyone else has felt about every show in the history of network. It's all been straight white men. The female characters were stupid, or the gay characters were played off as comedy. There weren't many black people on a lot of the main sitcom shows. Friends had practically none. Seinfeld didn't have a lot. When they were on there, they were comedy characters. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, let's just be real. This is why they're mad, John. This is why they're mad. It's not the show. It's the idea of the show.
Yeah.
You know, and I wish they would just say that. Just say, I don't like the idea of the show. I am sick of these chicken shit Republicans, dude. I am. I'm sick of them not just... Okay, for example, here we go. So anyway, She-Hulk, great, fantastic episode. Kanye West is in the news this week.
Oh, boy.
He debuted his White Lives Matter sweatshirts.
Oh, boy.
And if you can't see here in the picture, I will shrink us down where you can see that that's him. Oh my God, what's that chick's name? She's a Daily Wire person. It's Candace something. My God. Anyway,
Candace Owens.
Candace Owens. Thank you, John.
Representative from Maryland.
No, she's not a representative. No.
She was at one time, wasn't she?
No, I don't know, but she's a Daily Wire employee. Candace Owens. I don't know. I don't think she was ever in office, bro. She's American conservative, influencer, author, talk show host, political commentator, and activist. No, she is a Daily Wire person. So her and Kanye were at some event. Kanye debuted these White Lives Matter shirt, and I'm just sick and tired. I love Kanye. I love his music. I love it to death, bro. I do. I love his music. I will never stop loving his music. And I was thinking about this on the way over. You can like a person for their music if their music isn't what they're wearing on the shirt. If his songs were all like White Lives Matter, I wouldn't listen to his music.
Yeah.
All right? The minute you're talking about Kanye the person now, he's utter trash. He is an utter trash bag of a human being. He has aligned himself with these group of people, Daily Wire. And I will spend the rest of my days on this earth preaching about how bad the Daily Wire is. Me and John started talking about this before last week's show. These people are doing systematic damage to the country. They're doing damage to the country. They've got people on a small scale. They're dive bombing show reviews. They're giving the whole She-Hulk 1 rating reviews before the show even comes out. Now, come on, bro. What have you ever thought, let me log online and start giving low reviews to shows I've never even seen before? Like, is this what your life's about? So Kanye, White Lives Matter. Just what can we even say about it, John? What can you even say about this shirt? It's two.
I really don't.
For those who don't know, Kanye West is a black man. Candace Owens is a black woman. They are wearing shirts. For those at home, let me explain. I may need to explain a little better. They are wearing sweatshirts that are imprinted on the sweatshirts. It says White Lives Matter. Okay? What? Dude, in history, the phrase Uncle Tom, as it referred to slaves that kowtowed to the masters. I mean, they had to be aware of what they were doing, right? Like, when you do that, you have to be aware of what you're doing. I mean, it's a survival tool to some degree, but can you survive with your dignity intact is the question. Would you rather be a free man that's beaten, or would you rather be, a slave that's beaten, or a free man that has to kowtow against your beliefs? I mean, that's up to every other person to decide out there. I don't know. I don't know what the hell Kanye West is doing. I mean, this is a man, John, that infamously said to Mike Myers, George Bush doesn't like black people. Live at the Katrina charity event. He said on TV. Now this man, in the last few years, whatever it is wearing a MAGA hat, And now he's wearing White Lives Matter. I mean, I don't even know, man. I mean, his songs were literally pro-black. I could give you examples left and right. I mean, Jesus Walks With Me is a pro-black song. It talks about police brutality that black people suffer. Yeah. And now this man's rocking a White Lives Matter. Just tell me, I mean, is this overblown? Someone tell me I'm overblown on this. Someone tell me there's nothing wrong with walking around with a White Lives Matter shirt. John, you got to give me...
I think because of the source, I think you just got to gloss it over and just like, he's just being Kanye. That's not good.
That's too much. That's all of them, John. That you could say that for all of them. You could say it for Clay Travis and Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh and Candace Owens. I mean, it's just Matt Walsh being Matt Walsh, but it's like, or it's Ben Shapiro being Ben Shapiro, or it's Clay Travis just being Clay Travis. But at some point, do these people not have a soul? This is my question. These people not know what they're doing. I mean, look, I was a Republican at one point. And I think I've defined that the difference to me between Democrats and Republicans in today's world, okay? Today's world is a lack of empathy. I'm not saying Republicans don't have empathy. I'm saying Republicans don't include empathy when they make choices. And they brag about it. Oh, we take all the emotions out of all of our decisions. But that's not how to run a country. You must have thought for human beings when you make decisions. Otherwise, we're just robots. If you're going to look at the most efficient manner to do things, that would probably include killing a lot of people. Mm-hmm. I mean, realistically, if you're looking at the best way to run a society, if you remove all emotions from it, a kid comes out, he's deformed. I mean, if you just logically, you take all emotion away, all empathy, I mean, you would kill that person. So this week, and this leads into this, Herschel Walker, who is a football player, who, if you recognize the name,
yeah.
He's running in Georgia. Now, this guy, number one, is dumb as they come, dude. He is not a smart person. I feel comfortable saying that. I don't have a problem saying it. He's a moron, okay? And it come out this week. This is a pro-life, they run on this pro-life thing. He come out that he provided an abortion to a woman. Now, first he said he didn't, even though she had the check, had to get well card. Then he said he didn't know who she was. Turns out he had a kid with her. And the Republicans have pretty much said on record at this point, there's a few of them that have said, we don't care. We just want to win. We just want to win. All they want to do is win. And I'm thinking, who can we blame for this? This has to be our parents' generation that caused this nonsense. I mean, I used to walk around going, winning is the only thing that matters. I used to say that, John. I used to believe it, And as you get older, I don't know how these people... I've got tons of thoughts. I don't know how these people live in the society where they think winning is the only thing that matters. Winning is the least thing that matters at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But they want to win at all costs. So they will endorse Herschel Walker. Like, I looked on Clay Travis's page. He's like, yeah, this guy's going to win. Who cares? Do you remember the days? Look, and whatever you want to think about Republicans, right, whatever, at least in some point in history, Republicans, if this would have happened, they would have said, dude, withdraw. You have to withdraw. If you have provided abortions to women, you have to get out of this race. 2022, they're like, no, stay in it, man. We got to win. Winning is the only thing that matters, no matter what. This dude could come out and be a serial killer. They would say, like, yeah, so, I mean, just keep going, bro. I mean, is this the party, John, you're happy to be in?
I'm not happy with this party.
Okay, I'm just making sure. But when do you call them out, John? How do you keep voting for these people knowing this is who they are?
I mean, I haven't voted for the Republican Party for 8 years now.
Oh, good.
So
it's just sad. It's a sad state of affairs. And then this whole trans thing, which, look, if people were serious about having a general serious conversation about trans athletes, I would be glad to have it. I don't think the majority of the conservatives want to have a serious conversation about it. So, because here's how I look at it. This week, Aaron Judge hit home run 62. Now, if you don't know sports, I'll explain it real quick. The home run record for many, many years was 61, held by Roger Maris, the Yankees, eons ago. Okay, long time ago, before any of us were born. Now, during the steroid era of baseball, where a majority of players were taking steroids, Barry Bonds, broke the record with 73 home runs in a single season, which is a lot if you know anything about sports. And, I mean, we all know he was taking steroids.
Yeah.
Mark McGwire broke the record. We know he was taking steroids. Sammy Sosa broke the record as well. Okay, 3 dudes in 2 years, or 1 year, all broke the record. I don't hear any conservatives complaining about this ever. Isn't dudes doing steroids to break their records that they love? Isn't that worse than a transgendered swimmer? A swimmer now, swimming. Now, dude, no one in the streets can name 3 swimmers ever. I'm guaranteeing you they couldn't, an average person. 3 people in the street, I just named you 3 baseball players they could all name, without a doubt. Why aren't they on the warpath about this? Why aren't they on the warpath to get these home run records removed from the Baseball Hall of Fame? Or the statistics. They don't care, man. That's what I'm saying. They're all dishonest arguments. They should be picketing Barry Bonds. Well, I'm surprised they're not because he's a black man. But if they know Mark McGwire is right behind them, so it doesn't really matter. But it's just wild to me. This is the party. Now, before we get into conspiracy theories, I want to play this Matt Walsh clip real quick for you. This is Matt Walsh of the Daily Wire on his thoughts. I'll just let you hear what the thoughts are and then we can talk about it. Here we go.
It is not. In fact, ever since the beginning of time, teenage girls have been getting pregnant. It used to be more common. The peak, ever since they started keeping records of these things, which they only started doing recently, like in the 20th century, but ever since they started keeping records, in 1957 was the peak for teenage pregnancy. 1957. Not 2009,
well, back
not
then,
today.
All of them were supposed to have kids. Like, that's when you had kids.
That's my point, okay? So to all of a sudden act like this phenomenon of girls getting pregnant at a young age that we consider young, 16 or 17, to act like it's a new thing is ridiculous. It's always been that way. Even biologically, and this is me just stating, right now I'm going to start by just stating facts. So fact number 1, it's not a new phenomenon. Fact number 2, in fact, it's a phenomenon that was more common earlier in history, and for the first 6,000 to 10,000 years of human existence, it was a normal thing. Fact 3, girls between the ages of like 17 and 24 is when they're technically most fertile.
Yeah.
Okay? That's biological. That's a fact, all right? I'm just stating facts. That's all I'm doing.
Just facts.
But what happened recently, and this is the 4th fact, recently in the last 30 years or so, we decided that that's way too young to start a family.
Why?
And because now
divorce rates would probably go up, and once you're that young, you can't really make sure that
well,
you know.
No, girls are no.
Because girls were getting married early, and marriages were lasting longer. You very rarely hear about like these relationships that go to their your diamond anniversary, your 50th anniversary, and all this. That's a dying breed of people out there.
Yeah, and those were all people that got married very young. That's why
they're still alive.
Yeah, that's why you can have someone in their 70s who's celebrating their 55th wedding anniversary because they got married when they were teenagers. So what I'm saying is that the problem is not per se teenage pregnancy; it's unwed pregnancy. That's the problem in society. It's only problematic when you are not married and you don't have the man there to help you take care of the kids because he's a coward. And the reason why we have that now are for 2 reasons. Because we have in current society, we live in the age of extended adolescence.
All right. So you heard some of the argument there. All right. Now, I'm just going to tell you what I heard, and you can tell me if you heard the same thing or if I'm crazy. I like the why. My favorite part of the whole, I don't know who the sidekick is. And this is.
I think there's more than 2 people there.
It's 3. It sounds like 3.
Yeah.
This is a modern clip. This is not from the 1960s. Matt Walsh is not immortal. He's not 1,000 years old. This is literally in the modern era of humanity. Okay. Where we've all decided, I thought we had all decided as a culture that teenagers were off the market for marrying and having kids with. I mean, that's my understanding. John, would you agree with that? 16 years old?
Yeah.
That's wrong, right? He's saying...
It's a contradictory, and something else he's really big on is about teenagers going through reassignment surgery.
Oh, thank you, John. There you go. You got to the point.
And so...
You got to the
he
point.
He is contradicting himself in some of his arguments.
So they're old enough, in his view... The reason we're having a pregnancy problem is not age, it's marriage. So in his eyes, if we just made it go back to the way it was in the 30s and the 40s and even maybe in the 50s, and women could just get married at 14, we wouldn't have an unwed pregnancy issue. I mean, and these women, as I said, man, they just stayed married for years. Not because of the fact that they couldn't go anywhere else ever. They didn't have a job, so they couldn't go anywhere. They were getting the beat every night. The police would come out and not do a darn thing. They were literally trapped. There was nowhere to go. Where do you think these women are going to go? Do you know how hard it is for anybody out there? I mean, I don't, but my mom had to do this. To leave a marriage that you've been in for 20 years, it can't be easy.
Yeah.
You're talking in the 50s, it was impossible. Impossible.
Especially for women.
Especially one that got wed at 14, was pregnant at 15, 16, 17. This guy's a creep, dude. This is what I'm saying. We cannot, people, John, you got to stop watching this guy, dude. Because here's the thing. If Matt Walsh was a musician and he made great music and he preached that, and I'd go, well, you know what, dude, I'm just not going to listen to his political talk. That's how I separate it. The music, the political talk is different. Now, people are going to argue, well, you're giving the guy money. I understand that. And that's a deeper concern that we could discuss. His whole stick is his talk. So he's talking about 16-year-old girls should be allowed to get pregnant, get married, because biologically it just makes sense. This is what I'm talking about with the empathy, with the lack of it. Let's just look at people as livestock and let's just get women pregnant at 16. This is what these guys want. I mean, they're not going to tell you that. I mean, he did though, but that's why they love these guys, because they're allowed. That's why they love Trump, because they can say whatever they want to say and it's all good. And that's the world they want. They want to walk around dropping the N-word. They do. They want to walk around calling women whores and things like that. That's what they want to do. They want it back in the 50s. Don't think that Donald Trump's Make America Great Again was not pointing back to the 50s. This is what they want. Before civil rights, before women had great rights, all this. It's just, it's trash. But anyway, let's move on. All right, conspiracy theory. John, you called me up and you said there's a conspiracy theory in Tennessee about in God we trust. Now, where did you hear? We'll explain it. Where did you hear this at?
I heard it from, there was a clip that was shown from a TikTok that was on YouTube. And that's where I saw it, and I was like,
all right.
I didn't know about this, and I started looking at license plates, and when I started noticing that, okay, all the ones that I saw corresponded to to this thing, so I called you about it and wanted to get your take.
All right, so I'll explain real quick. Tennessee started issuing new plates. It was time for new plates, new design. And that was comical in itself, because the new plates are dark blue with white letters. And there's license plate readers in Nashville, and the license plate readers couldn't read the tags at night. So that was already off to a great running start. That's comical. But then here was the caveat. Some of the tags would say, "In God we trust." I didn't even know where it was until I saw this picture today. In God we trust. There's a TriStar in the middle of the tag.
The Tennessee State Seal. Yeah.
So you got letters. You got 3 letters, a TriStar, and then numbers. Or you got numbers.
Well, you've got 3 digits or placeholders.
Yes. And then you got
the symbol, and then 4.
So it's either number, letter, flip-flop around. Now, the In God We Trust is above the TriStar. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I guess that's why I was not looking the other day when I was going out. I thought it was at the bottom. So that's why I didn't see any, probably. But the running theory, someone made a TikTok video, and of course, if you make a TikTok video and it makes half sense, I mean, people are going to start believing it. I mean, deservedly so. So the theory is that, okay, if the letters are first,
it does not have it.
It does not have In God We Trust. Okay, the letters are first, but if the numbers are first,
it does say.
So numbers means In God We Trust. Now the running theory for this. John, you explain it, John. Is where what?
It's for, you mean the running theory of why they would do it?
Yeah, why they would do it.
There's several different
theories. The conspiracy
theory. The only thing I could think of is profiling, as far as when someone gets pulled over.
Yeah, that's the big
thing.
That's the number one theory.
Other theories that spin off of this is marketing ploys, people who would generally opt to have that on their tag would probably be right-leaning in their
Fair to say,
political.
Yes.
And when you have that, you can generally push certain agendas towards those types of people, and they might eat it up with a spoon.
For sure. Oh, 100%.
And
Yes.
so that's another aspect. But I don't know how that would relate to your car tag as far as what your... I don't know how they would steer that kind of stuff to you.
So the main theory
But
is
the main theory,
it's a marking tool where state troopers at the guise of the governor, Mr. Bill Lee, a Christian, could identify us atheists. I'm saying me, us atheists, us sinners, us deists, as non-Christians. I mean, I don't know if LDS would be protected under this either. I don't know where it stops. Where does Bill Lee's line stop of who's a Christian and who's not? I mean, you've surely heard John as a practicing member of LDS, Mormons for those uninformed. You've heard before people say you're not really part of the religion, right? Like
I've heard people say that, yes.
So you might be on the list as well. So anyone that's not a Protestant member of Christianity, probably to Bill Lee, I would say you're not part of the flock. So, look, what do I believe? I believe enough people have done research to prove it's true. That being said, I don't know that it's been 100% proven that this is not ulterior motives. Could it be? Of course it could. Of course it could. I mean,
there's not really a reason to justify that being that way every single time.
Well, they said production-wise, it would make more sense if they could just print those on there and just run through the sets of. I mean, that kind of makes sense. Like if In God We Trust is going to have all the numbers on it at first, they would print off so many, and it would be more cost efficient to run them a certain way. Like if you're running a printer and you want to run 111, 112, 113, and you're going to have In God We Trust. That's what makes the most sense. But it is a funny theory. But
if you all the ones that have the letters first,
yeah. So here's the
almost
second.
all have started with a B.
Yes. But how many? Yes, that the having God we trust or don't.
That don't.
Yeah.
Well, actually, even the ones that with God we trust, in which the letters on the second half, not all of them, but most of them started with B, where the letters start.
I'm just thinking that's because the amount of numbers that it could be, we've not got past B yet. I don't know.
But I haven't seen a single A though, and A comes first.
I mean, maybe they
started with B.
Yeah, they may like to stay away from A. I don't know why. I'm trying to think. Like, I mean, as someone who works police department, A and B doesn't really matter because I mean, there's you're using alpha or not, you're using Adam for A and B for boys on the radio, so it doesn't really matter when you're identifying a tag. I don't know, man. Bill Lee is such a terrible human being. I will say this. We didn't even talk about it. We went to the Banana Pudding Festival.
Oh, yeah.
This weekend. We had a good time. It was fun. I got to meet the guy running for governor on the Democratic side, Jason Martin. Finally got to meet him. Nice guy in person. We had a nice conversation. And, I know the election's coming up in less than 2 months now. It's going to be in November. Bill Lee's probably going to win. But I don't know. I mean, we'll see. That's why we have elections. But I just want to say, if you are sick of voting Republican and you live in Tennessee, which most of our listeners are, look into Jason Martin. I think he's going to do more. If I was just looking at what they stand for and I had to go, which one is actually a Christian, I would actually probably look at Jason Martin versus Bill Lee. But, I mean, Bill Lee has run down teachers, run down the homeless people. He does not want – today, as we're recording, Joe Biden has pretty much – made marijuana decriminalized on a federal level. So now he's asking the governors of each state to essentially decriminalize it. Now, do you think Bill Lee's going to do that?
Oh, probably not.
No, absolutely. Jason Martin today said he would. So if you're a stoner and you're high right now, you write down November, I think it's November 2nd, but vote. Just vote, man. Please vote in the upcoming election. I mean, I'd rather the non-Republicans voted, but I mean, just vote. We don't need, look, here's what I say with this. If all Democrats got running, if they all controlled the office, at some point I would probably flip back the other side. I think you need a constant influx of ideas. But anyway. So this conspiracy theory, are we debunking it, John? Or are you still holding on to hope that it might be true?
I mean, I don't hope it's true.
No, I mean, do you think it might be true?
But I think it. I still haven't seen.
What percentage? We should have just been doing John's conspiracy theories the entire time. Doo-doo. Uh-oh. Is it a conspiracy theory? Is it, John?
I think it's still it ain't even 50-50.
Oh, 50-50. Oh, my God. Well, there you go. You heard it. John said 50% that the governor or some elected officials have marked down the Christians versus the non-Christians in Tennessee. You heard it here first. All right, that was pretty fun. All right, well, let's get to it. Okay. Audio's back for the YouTubers. All right. So we're doing best fictitious lawyers. John says he goes first. I'll believe him. I don't. What did we do last week? Oh, best live shows. Yeah, I think I went first. Okay. All right, John. Who's your number one best fictitious lawyer?
My number one. I do lean heavily into the entertainment aspect of this one.
Okay.
And also, I mean, if you want somebody to prove a point at all costs, this guy was able to do it. And also on a slightly personal level, the two lawyers. I mean, when you have a lawyer, there's also another lawyer in the show. There has to be.
All right. So John's number one is Foggy Nelson. All right.
No.
Yes.
The other the dichotomy between the two main lawyers in this movie reminds me so much of you and Lee in a certain period of our lives that, I mean, I couldn't not have it.
Oh, I know what it is.
So my number one is Lieutenant Daniel Caffey from A Few Good Men.
Yeah, that's a good one. Now, the great thing about Caffey, if you've never seen A Few Good Men, number one, go see it. Fantastic movie. I quote it all the time. I think of it all the time. I think of it all the time.
It's a great movie.
So he takes on a case, and he is known for settling every case he's ever done. He's never lost a case. And the joke is, if he gets one more case successfully, he gets like a set of knives or something.
Yeah.
It's like the running bit. And he takes on this intense case. And this is one of Tom Cruise's best roles ever. I mean,
yeah.
I think this is one of those perfect movies. I think there's some, I mean, if you had me as Tom Cruise, Lee as Kevin Bacon, you got it all right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if your butt's on the line, you definitely want a dude that's never lost. I mean, that's like a key. Like settling is important in the criminal justice. I know people don't know that, but like most people settle. So you want a good deal on the table. And apparently he's gotten the best deals that resulted in pretty much no conviction, nothing. So that's a good one, man. I had it on my list. All right. But, I obviously played my hand already because Saul Goodman is my number one, without a doubt. If my butt's on the line, bro, I mean, if I'm going down to Chinatown, I've never seen a guy on a show. Now, people never watch this. He sets up a deal at the end of the series that is the most remarkable deal you will ever hear in the history of law shows. This guy got this guy had people killed alongside Walter White in multiple jails at the same time within 1 second of each other.
Yeah.
Saul Goodman is a talker. He's a hustler. He will get you out of jail. But man, watching him on screen was one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life. It is one of my top 5 greatest shows of all time. I love Saul Goodman. I love Bob Odenkirk. And if you've never watched Better Call Saul, enjoy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know who these people are. Some people haven't, but so I'm picking. I mean, Saul Goodman's like who I'm picking. I'm calling him number 1. Now, I mean, I'm going to be hanging out with some scummy customers, but hey, you know, it is what it is. I could probably afford him as well. I don't think. I think the key, he didn't really charge that much either, so that kind of worked out as well. But Saul Goodman, man, just the GOAT, man. Like if this was still called Mount Rushmore, he's one of the faces up there. Fest Love, thanks for hanging out. He says, speaking of real lawyers, one of my few favorite episodes y'all did was with Amanda Gentry.
Amanda was great.
Yeah, she's awesome, dude. She's awesome. If you haven't checked that one out, she was on a couple. She was on once, and then she was on a 24-hour episode. All right, John, your number 2.
My number 2, in doing the research, this was by no surprise number 1 on most lists.
Okay. Is this you? Are you calling your people? No?
What?
Oh, okay. I know who you're saying. I can figure out who you're saying. Is this a black and white movie?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I was thinking you were going somebody else. All right.
Yes.
I know his list.
Atticus Finch from To Kill a Mockingbird.
Didn't he lose a case in the movie?
It wasn't about.
Did he lose the case in the book? Oh, what a great lawyer. So
anyway.
The only case you know Atticus Finch ever had, he lost. So this is the guy you're going to. This guy lost a case where he had facts on his side. And was he fighting the entire system? Yes, he was. The whole system was on trial, but I did have him on my list. But he did lose the case. He did lose the case. Now, is he a good man? Yes.
Yeah.
Saul Goodman, a good man? No, not really. Who are you calling? You got one call, John. Your butt's on the line. Who you calling? Saul Goodman, Atticus Finch.
There'd be one caveat to that.
No,
because I mean, if there's something where, in any way, shape, or form, your court case would affect Saul Goodman's personal life,
well, John,
I think he would definitely.
You don't even know Saul Goodman, brother.
I'm just
what
saying,
are you talking
we
about?
do based on the. We're taking
Say you'd pick Saul Goodman. We all know the case. Anyways, talk about Atticus Finch. He's a great guy. He's a good dad. Yeah.
I mean,
he's kind of vanilla. I mean, truthfully.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as the uphill climb.
Sure. I mean, yeah. I mean, in his position, brother, that's the best you could ever do.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, bro, writing that book and like going, well, I'm just gonna, at the end, things are just gonna go sideways. What a commitment, right?
I mean, it makes it better.
That's
it makes
realistic.
it more realistic. Yeah. So.
Yes, Atticus Finch, obviously. All right. My number 2, I thought you were gonna go with a guy out of place, fast talker. From the streets of New York. Hey, he's Italian. Hey.
Oh, that's what my good people. Is this one on your list?
Vincent Gambini, my cousin Vinny, bro. Come on. This guy is a winner, bro. Yeah. That guy was up against the whole system as well. He goes to some backwood redneck. He's going up against the Munsters. Herman Munster is the judge.
Yeah, it's true.
He is. The deck is stacked against my man. And you know what a good lawyer, you know what my lawyers can do, John? My lawyers can talk. They can talk. Your guys are good guys. They push against the system. My guys win, John. All we do is win. I am the Republican list this week because all we do is win. But yeah, dude, Joe Pesci, obviously Godfather. I mean, Goodfellas is his greatest role ever. But man, my cousin Vinny, you had to love this movie. John, were you not rooting for Italian characters your entire life?
Of course I was.
I mean, you had Rocky, you had my cousin Vinny, you had every mob movie ever made. I mean, what a life John's living right there. But yeah, no, that's a great movie. If you've never seen it, fantastic. Him and God, who's the
Ralph Macchio?
Yeah, but the girl,
Marissa Tomei.
Yeah, Marissa Tomei. God, wow. Whew, she's something else. Okay, so yeah. Vinny Gambini from My Cousin Vinny, my number 2. All right, John. Who's your number 3?
My number 3, you got to consult my list over here.
consult it with your two lawyers who rarely win cases over here. I guess, Lieutenant Dan is your number one. That's great. That is his name. While John's saying that, Fugin Man, that scene between him and Jack Nicholson is one of the greatest cinematic scenes in the history. So,
there's a lot of great scenes in that. The mess hall.
I think of that all the time.
That's probably my favorite scene in the movie.
Yeah, that is great. Okay, anyways. Did you order the Code Red? I ordered.
I want the truth. Anyway.
Real quick, you really got to put yourself in this scene if you've seen Fugin Man. This man is risking everything. You understand this man is risking his entire career, his legacy, his name, everything to ask one simple question that he knows the guy wants to answer, but he doesn't know if he's going to answer it. It's great. Anyways, all right.
No.
I'm going to have to rewatch that.
It's a great movie. For my third choice, I'm going to go to some of the inspiration for our list, and I'm going to say Matt Murdock.
I figured you would. I figured that wouldn't be off the... I can't argue against Matt Murdock. Truthfully... it'd be great to have a lawyer that knows when everyone is lying. What if you're lying, though? What if you're guilty? He's going to probably think less... he is a guy that defends everyone, but... he would be really the ultimate, right?
But, it's not like all of a sudden he's representing you. You meet with him, and so... If you are guilty, if you are that person, then...
Well, lawyers have to represent minus guilt. They're not looking at their clients guilty. They're looking at them as this is someone who deserves representation, right? Yeah. Even the ones that are people that are obviously guilty, their goal is, and it's a weird system we have, but their goal is to make them not be found guilty because you're innocent, until they have enough facts against you. And their goal is to not make those facts come to light.
No.
People hate lawyers until they're the ones between them and those doors, and they love them, But yeah, Matt Murdock. Do we need to say anything else? He's a freaking superhero. He can hear your... Anyway, okay. All right, I'm going to go one. Now, there's a great show. Look, I know this man went on TV and he slapped another man, and everyone hates Will Smith, but you better not come at me and act like you don't like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And Philip Banks... The one episode I love the most is when Will gets into a car accident with somebody, and you're thinking, well, he's doomed. Phil Banks, my number 3, thinks outside the box and gets the other driver to admit they weren't wearing their glasses and gets my man Will Smith adjudicated from those charges. Phil Banks must have been a successful lawyer. Look at their freaking house.
Well, he went on to be a judge. So
there you go, my man, the judge, Phil Banks. But I would love to. Phil Banks could represent me any day of the week. This is a guy you're not gonna mess with. This guy. Part of the thing was he was a big guy too. You could tell this guy could crack some skulls, bro. But I used his brain more than his brawn, and he was as the show showed many times, he was a crafty lawyer. He was good at his field. He became a judge. Like I said, you don't become a judge just by being some crap lawyer. You never win. So, yeah, Phil Banks, my number 3. All right, John, we're up to your last one.
I gotta spread the wealth a little bit and give one to the ladies. And
I didn't have any ladies on my list.
You're just a horrible person.
Who?
But anyway,
who? I couldn't find any that's worth the darn.
I am going to. You know what? I'm gonna.
Not talk about it. That would be great.
I changed my mind.
I'm
going to go with probably one of the most famous.
Oh, look at this guy.
Because we haven't done television yet.
Philip Banks.
I haven't.
Oh, okay. Saul Goodman. Yeah, it's like, I've only...
Yeah, you've done too. Probably the most famous television lawyer of all time, Perry Mason. That's what I'm going to go with.
Snooze fest, brother. I ain't never watched one episode of Perry Mason. I couldn't tell you anything about it.
I didn't like the newer episodes, but when I was a kid...
The newer episodes? What are you talking about? This got rebooted?
Yeah, but with the same actor.
Yeah, it was 100 years old.
But
was it Geritol cases? What are you kidding me?
Well, you had the...
What year was this job?
The original show was in black and white.
Wait, when was the luge?
In
70s?
Late 80s, early 90s.
This is absurd. You watched this show? I've never watched one episode of Perry Mason.
I did. I watched.
You should have went Matlock over Perry Mason, brother. At least that was Andy Griffith.
Yeah, he's on my honorable mention.
All right, anyway, what do you got to say about Perry Mason?
For court cases like that, it seemed like there was still a lot on the table even before the court case started. So there was a lot of investigation that went into it, and a lot of these other people on our list don't really have that. They're presented a case and then they have to serve it. Whereas there was a lot more history of the case that was building up to it that he had to go back even after the case started to investigate for.
So it's a snoozer of a show. This guy had no flash. He had no pizzazz. What do you like about the man? He made your freaking list.
I just said. I mean, there was investigation.
So you like dun dun dun. What's that show called? What's that show? I'm talking.
Law and Order.
Yeah, there's lawyers on there too, John. Yeah. All right, Perry Mason. John, that's uninspired, man. There's so many great ones on you. I would love to hear your also ran. Because I've already got. Okay, we'll get to it in a second. All right, you got to go. One of the most entertaining movies, one of the funniest comedies of all time, and a brilliant lawyer who has to win a case where he cannot lie. Jim Carrey, liar. Fletcher Reed. If you're going down, this is the guy. As a liar, he's one of the best lawyers in the world. When his ability to lie gets stripped away through a birthday wish, I love this movie.
He still wins.
Do you understand? This is one of my favorite comedies of all time. This is Jim Carrey at his best shining moments, dude. So anyway, he can't lie. He has to win the case. Hijinks and so there are so many great quotable lines in this movie. But anyway, the point is, brilliant lawyer.
Anything that distracts from your face.
I gotta go pee. Do you really have to? Anyway, look. Fletcher Reed, all-time lawyer. Like I say, if you can win a case without ever lying, you're really the best lawyer there ever is. But yeah, Liar, I will go down. One of the greatest comedies of all time. It's in my top 5 comedies without a doubt. So, all right. So John had on his list Lieutenant Daniel Kaffee, Atticus Finch, Matt Murdock, and Perry Mason. I had Saul Goodman, Vinny Gambini, Phil Banks, and Fletcher Reed. Who did not make your list, John? I want to hear who Perry Mason. Who is the female you booted?
Elle Woods from Legally Blonde. She didn't lose a case.
You know what I think about Reese Witherspoon. So
yeah.
Now I've never seen Legally Blonde. Don't want to. Have no desire to see it. I get it. I feel that movie is very insulting to blondes. Am I wrong about that? I mean, I understand. Yeah, she gets it at the end. And
I think
she's still a dope. I mean, she's not
I think what Legally Blonde does for blondes is the same thing that every Tyler Perry movie does for black people.
Wow, that on the quote, man.
So yeah.
That's John with a quote for the ages. That would be a major key. If we still had major keys, that is a major key of the year right there. All right. So Elle Woods, I applaud that. Okay, who else?
Jennifer Walters, Jerry Hogarth, Matlock.
Wait, who's Jerry Hogarth?
She is from the extended.
MCU.
Yeah,
and Daredevil.
Yeah,
Defenders or whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
She's right.
Claire Huxtable.
But see, if I have to say who is she, it's a bad sign.
Yeah. That's why she didn't make the.
All right, Claire Huxtable was a lawyer. I didn't even know that. Anyways,
Sandy Cohen from the OC.
You got to be. That guy sucked.
Jack McCoy from Law and Order.
Oh my God, John, that guy's trash. Look, Law and Order is a great show to watch if you're just bored. Law and Order SVU is the best show to watch.
It is.
If you're just bored, if you're just sitting at home, bro, I have nothing to watch, just turn it on. Any point, you can turn the show on. Halfway through, 10 minutes left, just starting. It's it's weird. It's like the same show, the same episode every time, but it's great.
But I mean, if there's 3 or 4 episodes back to back, you're stuck watching them.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Bro, I mean, don't even get me started.
You said Vincent Gambini, Harvey Dent, and Dan Fielding from Night Court.
Okay. Yeah. So I didn't get to Tom Hagen from The Godfather, which, I mean, my life's on the line. He actually might be at top of the list. I mean, he's bribing every judge there is. And Jake Brigance from A Time to Kill.
Yeah.
Matthew McConaughey, great. And that's all I had. So, all right, there you go.
Unfrozen Came Down Lawyer from.
I saw that. I was thinking about that. That's pretty funny. There was some great comedic lawyer. If we did a list of comedic lawyers, it'd be a different list. But there we go. That's our list of best.
Your number 1 might still be on there.
Yeah, it might be. Best fictitious lawyers. There you go. Let us know who you think is the best of all time. All right, well, we've come up to the end of the show. It went pretty quick, John. We learned today the Daily Wire sucks, and we learned that what did you say? You said
Legally Blonde does for blonde people
Yes,
what every Tyler Perry movie does for black people.
it's true. All right, so yes, you've learned some things. Get out there. We got 5 episodes left. We will be taking off next week, so just enjoy it. It's fall break for a lot of you with kids, so enjoy that. John will be in the Big Easy, so we wish him well in his travels. He will come back with some good stories, I'm sure. And with all that being said, John, is there anything else?
Don't blame yourself when you could blame a bad lawyer.
That's good.